Now,
Let's start now.
yes, now it is okay. So last session, we understood. So remember all these steps. First step is a curiosity. I want to know what you are saying. I know who am I. So there must be a curiosity that what you are thinking, what I am and what I am not. Why we have the very first question? Because if I find out what I am not, and that is the cause of the suffering, we can easily remove it. But if I don't know what I am not, and I keep on with the same attitude, same problem again and again, then there is no chance of finding ourselves and understanding the entire philosophy and the practice. So, and one thing we should always contemplate and reflect that what exactly is the common desire for every living species. So you sit down for a while every day and see that what exactly is the common desire of all the living species. And we find it is peace and happiness. Now, if we feel that the wealth can bring happiness, I think, these all the other animals will also love to accumulate that, and which is not a fact, which is false. So, third step is obviously to understand clearly. The Eastern wisdom works with the three basic facts: what is real, what is false, and what is unreal. So we differentiate between the false and the unreal. Unreal means non existent, false means that appears to exist, but it is not. And so false is in between the real and the unreal. It appears as a real, but it is unreal. And we have hundreds of examples for understanding. We experience the water in the mirage, but water is non existent. The station, the motionlessness of the earth does not exist, it is constantly moving. But I see it as a fact. I also want my honey shouldn't move. They are changing, everyone is changing. And that is the problem. That creates the problem in relationship. 10 years ago, when you first met me, I was your soulmate, but now you no longer remain my soulmate. So you have changed, though the other also has to change. Why don't you accept it? You see the problem? So you don't accept that you should not change. It's a different matter that let me change. So these ideas, these notions live in my mind, and then there is a problem. So once we understand, and then we also realize that because of this false, there are millions of the problems: insecurity, fear, dissatisfaction, unhappiness. It is because of the false. I just made a statement, honey, you don't love me the way you used to love me when you first met me. It is false. Then to remove the false, so now this false becomes the impurities, ignorance, and the restlessness. So we have to remove this impurity. It means we have to purify the mind. So we have to learn simple and easy principles, the conventional methods to purify the mind in our daily life, in our thought, in our speech, in our action. Then the next step is that we should have a clarity of what exactly is the discernment in the intellect. We have a free intellect. When the mind takes over the intellect, that intellect also becomes impure. I have a strong preferences of likes and dislikes, attachment and detachment. So what I like, say for example, that I like a person, so my intellect demands the nearness with that person. I dislike a person, I want to keep a distance with that person. But these two persons are also the human being. Common point. Both are human beings. So it is my problem of my mind. So because the person I dislike who lives near to me causes problem. So we have to, and from where this likes and dislike comes from the mind. So we get more stressed because of the likes and dislikes. Sometimes you see that we cannot say anything to a person whom we dislike, but that continues to live in the family. So you wake up in the morning and your mind reminds about that guy or a girl. And that causes the problem in your life. So it is no person outside, nothing outside is responsible for my problem. I am responsible. One example. So that is why we have to learn and ask the mind to follow the power of discernment and the power of dispassion. The world would remain like this 2000 years ago and now. The world is continuously going to change. So we have to see how the situation, event, person should not affect me in any way. That is the power of free intellect. So discernment and dispassion. So what happens the moment you have a power of discernment and dispassion in your life begins to change. Your attitude, the way you think, the way you speak, the way you act, everything changes. So that prevents you to get affected by any situation, event in the world outside. One hand. On the other hand, you experience the sense of calmness. Now, this mind is not creating any challenges to you. It does not invite unwanted and unwelcome thoughts in the lane one. First time you realize that how easy it is to remain calm and poised. Do not start cooking the story in your mind with the preferences of likes and dislikes and duality and conflict. Tiger looks at you. Does the tiger starts cooking the story? No. We look at person, how beautiful. Ah, yeah, she looks like an arrogant. What make you think like this? What do you get any benefit? So you see, by these couple of steps, it helps you. So now the mind on the third step or third benefit is that now the mind is pure, and in the purity of the mind you have an intense desire to know who am I. Once you reach to that state, and then the self-inquiry is the best method to discover yourself. That includes mindfulness, meditation, etc. But before that, we have a two-step. You keep on learning and listening the principles of Eastern wisdom. Your mind now is ready to contemplate and reflect. Because of that intense desire, the mind is now committed We all are committed, but anyhow, when the mind is committed, it gives a preference, it gives a priority to find myself than anything else. So in every situation, in every relationship, you have that intense desire. What happens? The entire thought process changes. And then what happens? Then first thing that we realize, there is no suffering at all. We realize that we are not worthy of suffering in our life. How many of you realize that you are not worthy of suffering? And how many of us realize that we are worthy of suffering? After that, you add one word: because of my honey, because of my neighbor, because of fire station. I still remember. You see, go on, make a list. The bucket list, you can fill millions of buckets. It will not come to an end. Do you see that? That is the way we are living. That is why it is very challenging. It appears challenging to us how to bring an end to the suffering. Why and how the Eastern wisdom says it is so easy to bring an end to the suffering. So once we end in suffering, and then what happens? Then the next step is all about what is I am the real self. There is a realization, and the 10th step is the realization. So we will start. We have already started, but we will continue. Now I'm changing the text. So why I'm changing the text? So now we will be totally based on these 10 steps of the teaching, and then we will frame questions. Or the masters have already raised those questions. And so in today's lesson, there are three main questions. What is the goal of life? What is common desire of all human beings? What is the end of suffering and permanent happiness? Let us think it together. What is the goal? Any goal. Any goal comes because of the desire, and any desire has a motivation. So simple to understand, to take it. Now, the first thing is to consider that what exactly is the goal of life. To answer that question simply, that I have to discern, I have to understand clearly what are the means that we have made the goals, and what are the goals that we have made the means. So there is an utter confusion in our life. Tell me, who doesn't know in this modern world that the money cannot buy happiness? One. And who is in the world that is not running after money? They both are contradictory. We are not saying that you do not go and do not earn money. If you have more money, send to me, So I was running after. Do you see that who is not running after money, and that one major reason that I'm fully busy. Now I have to think again and again so that the mind becomes pure. What are the goals and what are the means? Money is a means to buy. Money is a means to meet the basic necessities of life. But one thing is clear: money cannot buy happiness, home cannot buy happiness, car cannot buy happiness, smartphone cannot buy happiness. Are you clear? But what is our daily life and living? Oh, I bought a new car. Come on, let me show you. I'm very happy. So it means the happiness is present in the car. I got married. No, we never say I'm very happy because I have been married for so many years. Marriage is not a means to happiness. Once we clear, marriage is not a goal. Marriage is not equal to happiness. Single is not equal to happiness. Divorce is not equal to happiness. But at the same time, we have been associating these words. Oh, I'm single, alone. That's why I'm unhappy. Last year, or maybe, yeah, perhaps the last year that women joined, and she says, you talk something about loneliness. Why there is a loneliness? Because I find being single is a matter of unhappiness. So means and the goal should be clear. And when the mind settles in the goal, my goal is to discover happiness. Why? We are picking up only the first question, why? Happiness is our essential nature. But we are not living in that peace and happiness. Hence, we have to find out why I am not able to live in peace and happiness, in a sense of security is not with me. I have to discover. But then the second question comes, what is a common desire of all living beings? Common desire. That's what I have been talking in a couple of the sessions. Common desire is definitely peace and happiness. And I'm not in peace and happiness. I claim that I am worthy of suffering. So Eastern wisdom says the goal of the Eastern wisdom is to bring an end to the suffering once and for all. And second goal is that awaken to that peace and happiness which is my essential nature. Our main question is that, we have many sub-questions, but these are the things. What exactly is the end of suffering and what is permanent happiness? The master says, the end of suffering means that I have removed the ignorance and impurity and the restlessness from the mind. All suffering is caused by the impurity. What is that impurity? You are not giving me happiness. You don't have happiness and you are not giving me happiness. So I overshadow a person whom I am related as a husband, as a wife, as a family member, or as a friend. And then I demand peace and happiness from them where it is not available, that is ignorance. And the thought pertaining to this objective is the impurity. And that causes the restlessness. Okay, you are not giving me peace and happiness, then I will divorce and I'll find someone. How many of you will find someone? It is not possible. It is not outside. You ask the mind to settle in this principle that peace and happiness cannot be found outside. You live in that state for at least 7 days. On the 8th day, your mind is pure. If you are the highest level of a seeker. I added if. I added if. No, my honey, always, he or she does anything and that makes me crazy. Okay. So at least, he or she is not giving you peace and happiness. He makes you crazy. She makes you crazy. That is the impurity. We don't realize this. Any situation, any person, any object in the world outside is not responsible for peace and happiness, and also not responsible for my suffering. Let the mind settle in that state for a week. You will not need to attend any of my session on the 8th day. I can tell you. Who is that coach who will directly challenge his or her own profession? But it is the knowledge of the Eastern wisdom. So now what happens, the first thing that I'm making us understand, when you have a direct knowledge of the journey of the Eastern wisdom, then you bring an end to the suffering, and then you awaken to the peace and happiness. So what we are doing now, I am saying that the real self is peace and happiness. You are listening. This is an indirect knowledge passing on to you. When it becomes a direct knowledge, when you declare from inside that I am peace and happiness. Did you understand this? There is an indirect knowledge, there is a direct knowledge. So direct knowledge means that now you experience, you have realized. What is indirect knowledge? You always refer to me that you told me that peace is my essential nature. It is indirect knowledge. Did you understand that? What should we do? We fix the goal. We remind ourselves during the life in any situation that peace and happiness are within me. I would say you start even the fake thinking that peace and happiness within me, and you see the change. Because at least even that thinking will cause a doubt in you that you are seeking peace and happiness from others. You will be able to break the chain of thoughts. Unwanted, unwelcome thoughts, their frequency will go down, their intensity will drop down. I can bet you. You think of it. It is within me, it is not outside. Then why I'm living with the honey? What do you mean? Why you are going in a wrong direction? We didn't say that. We are simply saying peace and happiness are your essential nature, and you are raising a wrong question. What is the right question? First, you discover peace and happiness within you and allow the mind to express that peace and happiness in your relationship. So he or she is a big opportunity. You are talking of opportunity. I'm in adversity. Leave that part, So are you clear about it? So three questions. If you answer it clearly, it helps you. A couple of more thoughts. So basically, if we look around, this mind constantly perceives the three entities. What are the three entities? I'm an individual. Second entity, there is a world outside. And third entity, whether we are theist or atheist, whether we are a believer or a non-believer, third entity, there is a very vague idea that it is existence or it is God or it is something else, whatever you want to do. There are three entities. That is why our intellect finds limitation. We have done everything in a particular incident. We have done everything consciously and still we fail. We have not done anything, we find a success. So we find there is something beyond that individual in the world. That's a common understanding. It's a common understanding. Look at this young guy who died. But there is something. And there is 90, 100 years old who is in the intensive care unit and still doesn't die. You see that? So there is something mysterious. So we want to bring that mystery to a clear understanding. What is that mystery? So there are three entities. So when we answer clearly, who is this individual? What exactly is the nature of this world? And what is, if there is an existence, what is that existence? Because the first three questions pertains to the three bases. I know my real nature, what I am. I know the exact nature of the world. I will never blame and complain that this world outside is responsible for my stress and sorrow. Did you understand that? That is how we relate. Purely a mathematical equation. I'll pick up only one, and then we will go for the practice today. So now pick up, what is that? Pick up one, I'm an individual. What do you mean by it? Think of it. What do you mean by an individual? Individual means unit. There is a body, breath, mind, intellect, and the I thought brings them all together, which is known as personality. Did you understand it? Who is an individual? Who is John, an individual? Sophie, an individual. Made as an individual. So what it means by an individual entity? A unit? Individual is a unit. So what that unit is composed of? We say a single, we say single family home. It's a unit. So same thing. So what is that unit? As an individual, composed of body, breath, mind, intellect. Hold on. Now who brings them, who blend them together? I thought. And then I say it is personality. Think of it. So what the personality does, that personality thinks, speak, and act in the life. That is what the individual is. That individual means, behavior, attitude, and a desire. Now, what it means? It means the mind seeking peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. Who is seeking all of this? Body, breath, mind, intellect. And that is what we say the individual. Can the body seek happiness? When I say I'm an individual, it means I'm the body. Fact is that I'm not the body, I'm not the breath, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I'm not the ego. I'm something beyond that. That is where we want to search the real self. We will pick up these questions again, and then we will find out an answer. So close your eyes and let us start our journey. Have you ever thought how long I am going to speak? No, no, don't think now. Let us practice. Eyes are closed. Eyes are closed. I have 3,000 texts, so no scarcity of knowledge. So, eyes are closed and be comfortable, making so simple, easy, and comfortable. Uh, Looking at the neck joint, being there, feeling the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Moving the mind on the moving the mind on the shoulder joints, being there, feel the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. The entire body, feel the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. You see that I gave this step to you in a very casual manner. But if we are aware that casual way of doing the practice will keep the impurities of the mind at bay. Very casual. You don't create an I thought. Just go on doing it. That brings us to the second step of being carefree. Your eyes are closed, comfortable and easy. Your body is comfortable, easy. So you're looking inside the head. When you're looking inside the head, to be aware of unwanted, unwelcome thoughts that is going on in the mind. Hardly 1 to 3% of the thoughts, psychologists say, we become aware. Other thought passes through our mind unconsciously, of which we are not aware. But even if we start becoming observing the unwanted, unwelcome thoughts, the real journey begins. So the moment you are observing, you are an observer. Thought is an observed. That is the meaning that you switch on to the lane two. And the moment you switch on to the lane two, you remain as an observer. You are carefree. That carefree brings a sense of calmness. Oh, is it so easy to be calm? Answer is big yes. So the first two steps. So in that state of the calmness, there is a rise in awareness. And if there is a rise in awareness, we use this opportunity for the third step. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. There are some crazy, unwanted thoughts. They keep on returning. And sometimes we do not notice them. So that is why we don't fight with them. We replace it by the mantra. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. Let everyone be happy. Now see, 3 questions we have dealt with. So my goal, I remember. Oh, the peace and happiness are the goals. Nothing in the world outside is the goals. Can be the goals. They are the means. money to buy home, money to buy food, money to buy car, etc., etc. Sarve santu niramaya. You're also saying mentally, Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve santu niramaya. Let everyone be healthy, a state of well-being. Everyone is seeking that. But I have to seek from within. A state of the well-being means the power by which the body, breath, mind, intellect, including the ego, work in harmony. Power. But the power is inside. That is the state of the well-being. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. I talk of the blessing and the grace. Why? Because it is already present, but I don't know it consciously. So I start, oh, let everyone be blessed. That also includes me. So that blessing and the grace, the idea, the thought, and the notion in the mind will give a break to the unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. Ma kaschet dukha bhag bhaved, ma kaschet dukha bhag bhaved. Let none suffer from misery in this world. None. We have included everyone. Why? It is an approach to expand the mind. When the mind is contracted, it lives with the I thought. And that excludes the entire world, including our honey, unconsciously. For example, we exclude near and the dear ones. So that's why we are saying, let none suffer from misery in this world. So we have done this. We'll repeat the same way, but definitely in a different way. The next step is now that you have done the 3 steps. In the 4th step, we recognize if we are progressing. Look at the head and the neck mentally. Whether I say look, whether I say feel, whether I say or I say be aware of the head and the neck. So it means the mind is paying attention of the entire head and the neck. That brings us to an experience of sensation, relaxation, and stillness. One thing we can pay attention here. So we move to the physical level, to subtle level, to a subtler level of awareness. That is the key. It is not about the head and the neck. What that means, understanding. So when you do it with the knowledge, and you realize that knowledge, I told you, indirect knowledge becomes the direct knowledge. And that is a sure means that you are there. So when I say look at the right arm, where is right arm? It's purely at the physical level. So your awareness, it's a physical awareness. So when there is a physical awareness of the right arm, without doing anything, you have an experience of sensation, relaxation, and stillness. This is mental awareness. You are experiencing in the mind. That limitation is gone. Can you limit the sensation? No. And what is after the sensation, relaxation, and stillness? Last time I said become aware of the sensation inside the right arm. that is calmness, and the aware of the space inside, that is quietness. So still it is subtler. What do you mean by moving within? This is the meaning. What is the meaning of rise in awareness? We move from the physical to the mental to the subtle to the subtler to the subtlest. It has nothing to do with looking inside the body. Looking inside the body, everyone has the same bone, skin, organs, tissues, etc., etc. We are not looking there. Move the mind on the left arm, so physical awareness. Experience the sensation, relaxation, and stillness, mental awareness, or you will see experience in the mind. You cannot show, I feel the sensation. You can just convey to others. And then calmness and quietness. Look at the middle portion of the body from the shoulder to the waist, physical. Then looking inside means now you understand. Because there is no other language we can express. I cannot say rise in awareness. That will not make a sense. So moving within, experiencing sensation, comfort, and steadiness, and still looking inside. Oh, I feel the calmness and quietness. The right leg, physical awareness. Mental awareness is sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Calmness and quietness. And then left leg, physical awareness. Anything with a name and the form is physical. Anything. Sensation has a name and form, you know. So it is subtle. What is immediately after physical is mental. Sensation, relaxation, and stillness. And calmness and quietness, my friends. Then entire body, physical, sensation, relaxation, and stillness, calmness and quietness. So understand it very clearly. What is the realization? Rise in awareness, or I say moving the mind within, brings calmness and relaxation anytime, anywhere. So now we will move to the next step. So we pick up the subtler level. We have to transcend the mind, so better begin with not the physical. So we pick up the breath. We watch and observe and feel the breath is going in and out. Even though it's a very subtle physical level, the breath is nothing but the energy. Energy is nothing but the matter. But still, it is subtler. So when the breath is going in and out, every time the breath goes in, Om Shanti or Shantoham, the breath comes out, Shantoham. The breath goes in, Shantoham. The breath comes out, Shantoham. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. We will share our experience. Why we share our experiences? So that you can understand the revelations during the meditation, and that helps us to progress. How are you, John?
Hey, Girish, I'm fine. I think I did doze off for a couple of minutes, but before that, I was fine.
That's really good.
Yeah.
You see that? You see, one understanding of their progress is that the unwanted, unwelcome thoughts did not disturb us. First. Now, another understanding of dozing off is that we, instead of rise in consciousness, at that moment I fell into unconsciousness. Sleep is unconsciousness. Meditation is a rise in consciousness. But it is much better than mind engaged in unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. So that is the way to analyze and examine. If we do not analyze and examine, that indirect knowledge that I'm passing on, it will not become the direct knowledge. I'm not teaching any religion, cult, dogma, belief. Pure science. How are you, Sophie?
Hello. I think I also was dozing off a little bit, but I have a question. So if in meditation you don't have any thoughts, are you still aware? You're aware of what?
You are aware of aware. You are aware of aware. That is the objectless state. You do not ask, I am aware of what. As long as we ask, I'm aware of what, the mind still wants to go outside. It wants to be aware of something in the world. So when it is aware of awareness, it is an objectless state in spite of the fact that mind at one corner has a lot of thoughts, but you are not a part of that. You're not participating. So that state is known as the objectless state, and that state is also known as what we say the observer or the witness consciousness. We cannot have a thought, I don't want to say what will happen. I will say later. How are you? Me.
the word kindness
Good.
comes to me. Kindness, to be kind to myself in this journey.
Beautiful. Now, it's an instant revelation for even a fraction of a second, that knowledge, that awareness of kindness. So whether we say awareness, the kindness, or the compassion, or the peace, or the calmness, or the quietness, it is a rise in consciousness. First thing. Now, second thing is that how long we live in that state of rise in consciousness is a main challenge, and that is why we continue the journey. So that is one reason I always encourage everyone to share their experiences. If I had not experienced those things, I cannot talk. I cannot talk spontaneously. So every teacher in the Eastern wisdom, they encourage you to share openly. Last point I remember, so I told you. So another group session where 10, 15 people are there. So after the session, that guy called me and he challenged. What he challenged? Why don't you ask me first to share my experiences? You always ask me at the last. So I told him that you have an I thought which is so strong. You think that when you share first, that will be much better than sharing the experiences in the last. You did not learn any lesson. You are still maintaining yourself that you are limited. And he fought virtually for half an hour. I said, what difference it makes? So when I use the word fought, he virtually fought. I said, thank you. I'm very sorry. So I will always ask you the first. But he is not able to express himself. So we find a lot of people, interesting people in this journey. That is all. Thank you very much.